Okay. Boy, did I oversleep. It's 8:20 in the morning. Boy, I tell you what, I had a good night's sleep. So, anyways, here's a trivia question for tomorrow. So, tomorrow we're only going to have one. What did Samuel's mother bring him when she visited each year? Simple, a new set of clothes. A new robe. Honey cake, letters from home, and musical instrument. Nope, a new robe. Yep, got that one right. Now, the one for yesterday. What was the name of Moses' first wife? Oh boy, I gotta see this to spell it right. Miriam. Nope, Zipporah. Huh, missed that one. Oh well, can't win them all. Verse of the day. Psalms 118:14. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. Why this verse? We aren't born trusting God. Actually, the opposite is true. We come into this world fully embracing our sinful nature. Think about it. Toddlers don't need to be taught how to be selfish. They don't have to be instructed on ways of telling lies. These are characteristics we are simply born with. From our first breath, we are the we are the most important things in our lives, and looking out for ourselves seems to be our number one priority. But somewhere along the way, we realize we aren't very good at saving ourselves. As a matter of fact, we can't do it. True salvation can only come from one source. That's why the psalmist wrote in this verse that God had become his salvation. Some of us find Jesus at an early age. For some of us, it's a longer journey discovering the truth of God. Either way, we aren't born knowing the salvation that comes from Jesus. He becomes our salvation. Thank God for becoming your salvation. Despite however long it took you to recognize him as the Son of God, or how many other places you searched for fulfillment before you found him. He is your salvation. Thank him for that. What caused jealousy among Jacob's sons? Joseph. What caused jealousy among Jacob's son? Joseph was sold into slavery. Nope. Reuben found some mandrakes. Nope. Laban tricked Jacob. Nope. Joseph was his father's favorite son. Yep. Got that one right. All righty. Check this up to 125. Monday, January 27th, on the road. The highway of the upright avoids evil. Those who guard your ways preserve their lives. Proverbs 16:17. That's in the NIV. Officers in Oklahoma pulled over a man last year with expired registration tags and got a surprise. He didn't have a valid driver's license. The vehicle was stolen and there was an open bottle of whiskey in the car. That's not all. He had a gun, a canister of radioactive uranium, and a live timber rattlesnake in the vehicle, and a passenger who was a convicted felon. Boy, I tell you, they wrote the book on that one. A lot of people are traveling down the highway of life with dangerous baggage. We enjoy making our own decisions, but our choices should be based on what God desires for us. Isaiah 35:8. A says, a highway will be there. It will be called the way of holiness. It will be for those who walk on the way. The unclean will not journey on it. Wicked fools will not go about on it. NIV. Are you carrying around too much baggage? May the Lord get us through life wisely with godly choices. Let's travel a highway of holiness for his glory. The highway of the upright avoids evil and has no room for the serpent in the car. Those who travel the highway of holiness do not care as much for the things of this life as their eyes are set on a greater goal, making it into Jesus' loving arms inside of heaven. Mike and Susan Blankenship. Living in God's Way by Kurt Zullis, Monday, January 27th, 2020. Scripture reading, Matthew 5:17-20. My heart is set on keeping your decrees to the very end. Psalms 119, 112. Very few drivers come to a complete stop at the stop sign near our house. Maybe they think the sign is only a suggestion. Are God's laws merely suggestions? The psalmist treats God's laws with the utmost seriousness. He declares, my heart is set on keeping your decrees to the very end. Jesus taught his listeners how serious God's law is. He explained that he did not come to abolish the law or any of God's commands. He came to fulfill them. And he said that not even the smallest letter, a reference to Yoda, the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet, or the least stroke of a pen would be eliminated from the law. Moreover, Jesus says there will be a great rewards for keeping God's laws and great penalties for not keeping them. The problem, though, is that none of us can keep God's laws perfectly because at heart we are in rebellion against God and his word. What can we do? We need the grace that only Jesus can provide through his death and resurrection. Once God has forgiven and redeemed us, we see his laws and words differently. The Spirit of God helps us to see them not as a source of condemnation, but as a call to love both God and our neighbors. And by the Spirit's power, we can understand that they are not mere suggestion, and we follow them as a grateful for thankful, obedient living. Are we following God's way in the strength of the Spirit today? God, give us understanding, Lord, so that in gratitude we may live for you. Living for God is, I'm not going to say hard, but I will say it's quite impressive, really. Lord, once again, humbly I come before you, putting my sins at the cross. Please forgive me for the sins I committed yesterday and this morning, because I know I already sinned this morning somehow. Anyway, Lord, thank you for loving me. Thank you for always being there, protecting, guiding. Just got to slap me around. And I know you do. Be with us as we go through this devotion and give us your words through the devotions that will carry us through the day. Thank you again for being that awesome human God. Thank you. Okay. 27th already. January 27th. The Poison Garden. Looking carefully, lest anyone falls short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled. Hebrews 12:15. In Eureka, California, best-selling author Amy Stewart tends an unusual garden behind her house. Every plant could kill you. Some of the plants, if ingested, would paralyze you. Some would stop your heart. Amy is a specialist in poisonous plants, about which she often writes and lectures. They are grown behind a secure fence. Few of us would want such a garden, but how many of us have allowed a root of bitterness to spring up within us? How many have a little toxic garden in our hearts? If anyone had reason to remain bitter, it was Joseph in the book of Genesis. Yet he forgave his brothers, was reconciled to them, and provided for them. His forgiveness melted their hearts, and old wounds were somehow healed. Forgiveness isn't just a behavioral adjustment or physiological device. It is the sum and substance of every page and paragraph of the Bible. And what the Bible is all about is the theme of all ages, the crux of the cross and the gift of grace. Beware lest any root of bitterness spring up within you. Well, that's true. Forgiveness, easy word, hard to do. January 27th, Power of Promises. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that it may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Joshua 1:8. In 1955, a Harvard medical doctor published a paper titled The Powerful Placebo. Dr. Henry Beecher said that placebos, inherent substances designed to encourage a patient's sense that good things were going to happen, are clinically significant. Promises and our confidence in the promise maker play a significant role in our success. When Joshua was tasked by God with the mission of settling Israel in the promised land, he had two resources: God and his promises. Those promises were contained in the book of the law that Moses had compiled. In that book were God's covenant promises to Israel. Walk in God's precepts, and God will be your provider and defender. Reminding himself of those promises, along with the record of God's faithfulness in the Exodus from Egypt, was Joshua's means to success. Meditating on God's word daily kept God and his promises front and center. Like Joshua, we have been forgiven exceedingly great and precious promises, and will ensure our spiritual success in life. 2 Peter 1:4. And like Joshua, our success depends on taking God at his word day and night. Psalms 38:4. My guilt has overwhelmed me like a burden too heavy to bear. Psalms 39. I said, I will watch my ways and keep my tongue from sin. I will put a muzzle on my mouth as long as the wicked are in my presence. But when I was silent and still, not saying anything good, my anguish increased. My heart grew hot within me, and as I meditated, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. Show me, O Lord, my life's end and the number of my days. Let me know how fleeting is my life. You have made my days a mere hand's breadth. The span of my years is as nothing before you. Each man's life is but a breath. Man is a mere phantom as he goes to and fro. He bustles about, but only in vain. He heaps up wealth, not knowing who will get it. Joshua 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give them to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert of Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country, to the great sea on the west. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their fathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So Joshua ordered the officers of the people, go through the camp and tell the people, get your supplies ready. 3 days 3 days from now, you will cross the Jordan here to go in and take possession of the land your God has given you for your own. But to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribes of Messiah, Joshua said, remember the command that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you. The Lord your God has given you rest and has granted you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock may stay in the land that Moses gave you east of the Jordan. But all your fighting men, fully armed, must cross over ahead of your brothers. You are to help your brothers until the Lord gives them rest, as he has done for you, and until they too have taken possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving them. After that, you may go back and occupy your own land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you east of the Jordan towards the sunrise. Then they answered Joshua, whatever you have commanded us, we will do, and wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your word and does not obey your words, whatever you may command them, will be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. In loving memory of Mom, Dorothy E. Taylor, July 11th to July 6th, 2014. God saw you getting tired, and a cure was not to be. So he put his arms around you and whispered, come to me. With tearful eyes we watched you and saw you pass away. Although we loved you dearly, we could not make you stay. A golden heart stopped beating, hard-working hands at rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us he only takes the best. Okay, well, that about concludes it for today. Lord and Father, once again, thank you. Thank you for your promises. Thank you for your love and your understanding. Understanding that we're just human beings. Thankfully, you were with us for 33 years. You understand us as we humanly are. Lord, I love you and thank you. Thank you for the devotion. Be with us as we go through the rest of today, which right now I thank you for today. Whatever happens, may it be in your grace. We ask this in your name. Amen. Okay. I'm looking at about 25 minutes. I'll probably cut it off right there. Anyways, have a beautiful day. May God be gracious to each and every one of you. And I love you all. So, well, at least the Israelites are out of Egypt now and getting ready to cross the Jordan. Jericho is right around the corner. So, anyway, have a beautiful day. And may God bless each and every one. Bye.